Hi there, this is Marc Jordan, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Isn't it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast at Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us at X at No Shock Pod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Marc Jordan.
Yeah, he is promoting his 2023 release, Waiting for the Sun to Rise. And what else has he got going on?
Well, he said he's got 5 new songs that he's going to release as singles coming up soon.
So, hey, let's get right to that interview.
All right, good night.
Good night. Marc, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you, my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Marc, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, Jeff. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're really excited to have you tonight, so let's get right into this. This past 2023, you released your 14th solo album, Waiting for the Sun to Rise. Can you talk a little bit more about this creative endeavor?
Well, the record I did before this, we used a symphony orchestra, and I'd never really recorded and used a symphony. We used the Prague Symphony, and I really liked it. So I decided I'd use it more on this record, and of course Randy Brecker, who is really become a very good friend, and he loves playing on the stuff, and I wanted to make a kind of sort of almost a filmic version of some of my songs, and I think it worked out pretty good. I studied film, at university. I didn't study music. I studied film, and I've always wanted to make a record like this.
Oh, very good. Well, you cover the Tears for Fears classic, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. It's by far my favorite track on the album. Can you give our listeners an insight to your approach covering this 80s iconic tune?
Well, I've always loved the song too, and what I realized over the years is it's kind of, if you listen to it, it's kind of like the beginning of Miles' "So What," right? Mm-hmm. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So there's a similarity. So we kind of pulled it more in that direction, and we used horns on it, and that's why we did that song. Other than it's a great song.
Very good.
Well, one of my favorite songs on the album is "Best Day of My Life." I believe Steve McKinnon's on there with you.
Yes. Yeah. He and I have written over the years many, gosh, he's produced a couple of my records years ago, and we've been writing for years.
Oh, very good. Since releasing Waiting for the Sun to Rise this past April, have you went out and supported it live in any capacity? Have you done any type of touring of any type of methodology?
I did some touring, and I'm going out with Amy, my wife, in a couple of months, and we're going to do some dates together. But I'm going to do stuff from this record as well as my duet record with her, and then I have a few more dates after that with my own band.
Very good.
So I'm pretty busy. Busy.
And so how do you approach most of those shows? Do you have like you said you had your own band, but do you also do any you and a piano or just solo type shows, or how's it work?
I don't do solo shows because I'm not a good enough player to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So a lot of the songs, although they may start out simple, become more complex in the recording part of the program here, and so I use Lou Camonte's been producing the last few records, and so he's my MD as well. So he comes out and plays piano, and then my son, Ezra, is a terrific pianist, and he sometimes will come out and do keyboards, just sort of as layers. And we have Steve McKinnon's wife, actually, is a great saxophone player. I use her, and Kevin McKenzie on drums, and various bass players.
Very good. I guess from a songwriting standpoint, as far as, songwriting for yourself, from the beginning, from your first solo album all the way up until the present time, can you talk about the songwriting maturity that you've grown into this part of your career, as opposed to that young songwriter in its infancies, opposed to writing for other artists, I guess?
Well, I'll tell you something. I never write for other artists. They just do the songs if they like them. And I'll tell you, that's a separate skill.
Yes.
That I don't really have. The only way I can make a song feel true is not if I'm trying to put words in Rod Stewart's mouth or, or whoever is doing it. It has to feel like it's coming from me. And then then I can judge if the lyric is good. And then if somebody wants, somebody like Rod or whoever wants to do it, that's great. If it means something to them, that's great. But so that's my process with other artists. They just kind of either do it or they don't.
I guess maybe the evolution of your songwriting as a solo artist for yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, when I first went to L.A., it was 1977. And I arrived, and literally the next day I was in the studio with Gary Katz and producing, and Jeff Beccaro and David Page and who else? Jay Graydon and Steve Lukather and the various people on bass. And so it was sort of intimidating. But what they brought a kind of a more rhythmic approach to my songs. I brought all the songs fully written, but they kind of I guess more because of Jeff than anything else. They kind of brought sort of funkified them a little bit. And so that was a real learning experience for me, because there isn't much, it's not a lot of funk in Canada in a lot of ways. You know, it's we come from a different, historically a different place musically than Americans. So anyway, so the songs got a lot more rhythmic and groove oriented, and I learned from that, and I stayed with that kind of. I learned from it, and I started writing that way for my other records.
Very good.
I just wanted to see if you could take us back a little bit. 1974, you released some singles with the Canadian division of CBS Records. Can you take us back to that time and maybe joining up with the record label?
Well, I was playing clubs, and in those days, what A&R men used to do, they used to go downtown in Toronto and look where the lineups were.
Yeah.
And then they, if it fit their label, they'd sign the act. And I was lining it up for a couple of years there at the clubs in Toronto, and so that's how I got signed. But I wasn't happy being on a Canadian label, to be honest. And I heard, remember that Phoebe Snow, the first Phoebe Snow record? It had Poetry Man on it.
Oh, yep, yes.
But it was done at A&R Studios, and I went down there and I wanted to work with those guys. I just drove my car down and knocked on the door. And Phil Ramone was the producer and the head engineer down there. And he said, and I played him my tapes, and he said, I'll produce a record on you, Mark. Go back, CBS, and get a budget. And I went back, and so I went to the president of CBS up here, and I said, Phil Ramone wants to produce a record on me, and he said, who's Phil Ramone? And I thought, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And I was. That's what happened.
Very good. I wanted to bring this back to your songwriting. Obviously, you wrote oodles and oodles of songs, but and for yourself, and like you said, other artists have picked up your songs. But how many songs do you have in the Marc Jordan vault that hasn't seen the light of day, I should say?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I've never thought about it, but I probably, so I guess I write 20 or 25 songs, say 20 songs a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing it, so say I've been doing that since 1975. Do the math.
Yeah. But as far as I guess maybe stuff that hasn't been, I guess recorded in a proper studio, that's just been demoed and you've kept it in your vault. Do you have quite a few songs that have not been properly recorded?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I got a lot of them, and they're all on different formats too, somewhere.
It's very curious to Jeff and I, because we talk to artists every week, and some say we have lots of songs in our vault that we haven't released, and then we have other artists that said, nope, if it doesn't work, we just throw them away. We don't keep anything. I take it you're a keeper, though, right?
Well, because I always worked for publishers, and they would keep them. You see, so I would get copies of them. So I didn't throw them out. Because, I've thrown songs out that I thought were bullshit. But anything that was worth, pretty well anything that was worth recording and spending time on, I kept. Because I would get a copy from whatever publisher I was with at the time.
Oh, very good.
I wanted to ask you about your acting debut. In 2010, you were part of a sports musical score, a hockey musical. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Well, they called me, and I thought they wanted me to do the music for this movie.
Yeah.
So they brought me down to the soundstage, and I wear unusual glasses sometimes. The director just happened to be there, and I thought I was supposed to be in a meeting with the guy who was doing the score, but no, they ushered me into the director's, and he said, "You look like the character of the father in this movie. In my mind, you look just like him." And I went, "Oh, well, I'm not an actor." And he said, "Well, why don't you audition while you're here?" So I said, "All right." And I did, and I got it. But just before I got it, the woman who was supposed to be my wife, the mother, got pneumonia or something. Got horribly sick, and she had to bail out. Mm. And they were going, "Oh, who are we going to get?" Real quick. And it just so happened that Olivia Newton John's a friend of mine. I've known her for a long, long time, before she was a big star. And so she happened to be coming up to Toronto, and I said, "Well, why don't you try Olivia Newton John?" And they go, "Oh, well, I'll ask her." And she said yes. I didn't even think she would in reality. But she said yes. So we had a blast. We just made each other laugh the whole time and made this movie.
Wow, so cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to kind of bring this more up to speed to the current times. In May of 2022, you, along with your wife, Amy Skye, released the He Sang, She Sang album. This album is the first collaboration between the two of you. Talk a little bit more about collaborating with your wife. Did you find that the husband and wife collaboration to be any different than working with anybody else?
Are you married?
Yes, I am. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I think we've answered the question. No, my wife is a great singer.
Yes.
She really is a great singer.
Mm.
And and a great songwriter. So, it was hard for me, to tell you the truth, because I've never had to harmonize with someone before.
Mm.
I've always been the lead singer. So on all the songs that I did harmonies on or doubled hit parts and stuff, that was really actually way more difficult than I thought it would be. But we just did it. We just spent the time, and did it. And the record turned out great, I thought. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, my favorite song is "Falling for You."
Oh, really? Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that is a beautiful song. And we did, a number of covers, a number of originals, and we funnily you mentioned it, because we drove down to Nashville about 3 weeks ago, and we had it on. We put it on 3 or 4 times and just turned it up, and sounded great.
He Sang, She Sang covers songs from a wide variety of genres under the rock and roll umbrella, I suppose. Yeah. Can you tell our listeners about the song selection for this album? And did you find the song selection to be challenging for this project, or did both of you already kind of know what tracks you would like to cover in order to create this album?
Well, we knew, because we go back, and my son and before him, my daughter lived in Nashville. So we drive down quite a bit. And whenever we drove down, we'd sing songs that we liked, and we put them on, our phones and play them and sing to them. And that's So that's what gave us the idea. After a couple of years of doing this, we thought, holy smokes, you know, we sound really good singing this song, or we sound good singing this song, or blah, blah, blah. And so over the years, it took, you know, maybe 5 years of just singing in the car. And we thought, you know, at the end of that, we thought, well, why the hell don't we actually make a record? And so that's how we narrowed it down, you know.
Very good. Yeah, I have a question about Nashville. So we've spoke to so many artists that have migrated to Nashville to work in Nashville, and on the flip side, we've had many artists come on to say they've exited Nashville to get out of it because they feel like it's just too convoluted. So for you, you know, as the songwriter that you are, and obviously you have a child that lives in Nashville. What are your thoughts on Nashville in the present day for songwriters and recording artists?
Well, it still is a great, great place to record. The players down there are unreal. They really are fantastic, and they do it fast. They're so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And there never seems to be any ambiguity, you know. These guys work together so much. It's almost like they're a band, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get these songs. So when they get a song real quick, it's cheaper to do it down there than it is to kind of work out arrangements in a studio up here. You know, nothing against the players up here; they're also great, but they don't play together as much as they do down there because they're just always working, you know. So I find it, you know, we were down there anyway, and I just found it was a really nice place to work.
Very good.
Yeah, in October of 23, you and your longtime collaborator, John Capek, were announced inductees into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. Can you talk a little bit about that, how that award affected you?
Well, it just made me crazy. You know, it just made me, I'm so full of myself now that I'm sorry, I can't talk about it. But it was just you know what, it's really, awards are just awards, but it's very nice to be acknowledged by your peers.
Yes.
And it's not that it's a, you know, it's just nice. It's just nice to be acknowledged. And I wasn't expecting it. And it was very nice for John. He was very, very happy to be brought up and acknowledged as well. Because he and I have written a lot of songs for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes.
We worked almost exclusively for years and years and years together.
That's awesome.
Pardon my ignorance, and probably Jeff's ignorance too on this subject, but you know, when it comes to being nominated to be inducted into the Canadian, you know, Hall of Fame, Songwriters Hall of Fame that you are, what is the criteria just to be nominated and then to be voted in? What do you have any idea what the process that goes into that?
Honestly, I don't know how they make the master list. I actually don't know, but then it's voted on by, you know, people in the record industry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all I know about it. I just got a call out of the blue, and they said, you're going to be nominated. And, you know, you're up there with Gordon Lightfoot and Joni Mitchell and those people. It's pretty, you know, it's wonderful, really.
So the night that you accepted your award, did they wine you and dine you and take care of you for the evening? How did it all? I guess what was the celebration all about?
Well, it's a concert.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big concert, and they get like guys. They get Canadians to do your songs.
Oh, cool.
And all, you know, all the big songs that other artists did, mostly American artists. And so that was really, really nice. So they, each, and they're younger, they're a lot younger, the people that sing your songs. So they bring something that's kind of modern to it. And it was lovely. And both my kids got to sing one of the songs, which is really nice. And, it's just a nice evening.
Oh, very good.
In 1999, This Is How Men Cry. The title track off of that one is more of a spoken word piece. Can you talk a little bit about that? Doing something a little different than your normal singing style?
You mean the spoken word thing?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's like I don't. I'm trying to think how I arrived at that. Why I did it that way. I don't know. Steve McKinnon gave me a track. He produced that record as well. And he gave me a track, and it just felt right to do that. And we worked on it. When I came up with that concept, he and I worked on it and just sort of rhythmically made it work. And but it was it was fun. It was nice because it was a bit of a departure.
Very good. All right, really tough question here. So, out of all the songs you've written and all the artists that have covered of your songs, what artist and what song is your favorite? Who covered your song the best? Do you have a favorite? They said they knocked that song out of the park. This was my all-time favorite. Covered by who, and what song was it?
Well, that's hard to say, but I'm a big Joe Cocker fan. And he recorded a song of mine for a movie, and he had Becca Bramlett on it as well. There's a bridge over Take Me Home, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me, that guy could sing the phone book.
Yes.
And you'll notice, like I actually did a background session with him in about 1970. Oh no, by 1985 in California. And man, he was pretty, pretty blasted by the time we got to the studio. And I should have known because the session didn't start till 1 o'clock in the morning. So we were there I was there till about 4, and then I said, what, guys, I'm falling asleep here. So, but anyway, Joe, because I was trying to sing with Joe. I was trying to sing this background part. And, he never sings the same thing twice, and neither do I. So it was difficult, but I love the guy. He was a gentle giant, and just had that voice. I've always loved it.
Very good.
And it's a great video. It's a great video with Becca Bramlett. You should check it out. It's really worth watching.
Definitely.
Nice. Well, Waiting for the Sun to Rise was, I think, 10 years since the last album. What's next for Marc Jordan? Are you working on a follow-up or taking a break?
Yeah, I'm working on one now. In fact, I'm heading over to Luz tomorrow, and we're going to actually start arranging stuff. I've got 5 or 6 songs in the bank now, and I think what I'm going to do instead of making waiting till I have a record is just as I record them, I'm going to put them out, I think, on Spotify or something like that, and just do it that way rather than wait till everything's finished.
Yeah,
just see how that goes for a while. Yeah.
Very good.
A lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, they absolutely are. So I got one last question for you, then we'll leave you alone for the evening. In 1994, you were a Juno Award winner for Best Producer with, I believe, Steve McKinnon, correct? Can you talk a little bit more about that experience?
Yeah. Well, it was shocking. because David Foster was up too, and I thought he was there, and I thought he was going to win for sure. But I guess maybe because I'd just come back from LA, I don't know. But anyway, we won, and I have to say it was mostly, the production was mostly Steve McKinnon. He's brilliant, but it was, then again, it's nice to be acknowledged by your peers, and it was a good record. It was a very good record. It was the first kind of jazz-oriented record that I ever did, so I was happy to see it acknowledged.
Oh,
nice.
So cool. Well, like I said, we're running out of our allotted time for the evening. Is there anything that we left off tonight that you would like to plug or promote?
Not really. We're just, I guess we're 4 or 5 months away from starting to spit more songs out and into the market, and so, it will be what it will be. I don't know what it will be yet, but it'll be something.
Very good. Well, this is how things are going to work out. We're about 2 weeks behind on our episodes, but once this is ready to come out, Jeff, the editing wizard over here, will clean up all of our mistakes and boogers. And then please, we'll send it to your PR person, and please share it wherever you possibly can on your social medias or whatever. So we'd appreciate it.
Oh, definitely. Send it to me. Send it to me, too, because I have an assistant. She'll put it out, too.
I definitely will. We want to thank you so much for this interview opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
It was an honor.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Take care. Good night.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out both their eyes. They roll the dice. Take your chances.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.